Hi guys, this is Alex, and as you may or may not know, currently on my Instagram, I'm doing a Mental Health Awareness Month prompt that's involving drawing things that have to do with mental health awareness in the hopes of raising awareness. And one of the things that's come up on my page is self-harm. And I know that that's a really taboo subject for a lot of people. Not many people want to talk about this because it's, I don't know, there's a lot of misconceptions surrounding it, so it's hard for people because they get it and they feel isolated, and that should never be the case. I self-harm. I had a problem with it a couple years ago with hitting myself, and I've struggled with cutting throughout the years. It's not something that I'm proud of. It's something that I've been ashamed of for a long time, but I realized that I don't need to be ashamed of it, and neither do you. We were talking about ways of dealing with self-harm. You guys were interested in me making a video about ways to cope with self-harm, to prevent self-harm, which is a great topic because a lot of people don't know how to stop. It's not easy to stop a lot of the time. People think that you can just drop it and it's not a problem anymore, but it's really more like an addiction sometimes. And once you've done it once, it's easier to do it again. So it's not easy to stop. So I thought I'd try to put together some semblance of a video just with my experience with it. I am by no means any sort of professional or expert. I'm just someone who's been through it personally, so I can give you things that I've learned and things that have worked for me and things that I've heard, but yeah. The most important thing, if you want to stop self-harming, is to want to get better. And that sounds really obvious and really simple, but sometimes it's not, because if you don't want to get better, then you probably won't. And for me, I know that I spent several years wanting to get better, but not wanting to get better enough to do the things that I needed to do. So a lot of you will probably watch this and not try any of the things. That's okay. Maybe you're not ready to stop because it's hard to stop, and that's okay. Don't be mad at yourself if you're not ready. It was your brain trying to find a way to deal with something that it couldn't. Maybe it was trauma, maybe it was feelings. It could be anything. But your brain was just trying to find a way to help you. So don't be too hard on yourself. Maybe just take a minute and thank your brain. Just say, thank you for trying to help me through this. Thank you for trying to help me cope with this. But I don't need this coping mechanism anymore. I don't need to cut anymore. Thank you for trying to help me. But this isn't the way that I want to do it anymore. You have the power to do that. And it's okay to be gracious with yourself. In fact, it's best if you do. Because you deserve it. I divided this up into two different, sections. So there are things that you can do in the moment that might help you to stop. And then there are things that you can do that are more preventative. So this was one that I struggled with a lot because in the moment when you're in that place where you want to self-harm, it's not easy to just shut it off. But there are lots of things you can try. The first one would be distraction techniques. So distraction techniques might look like going outside and taking a walk or exercising. For people like me, it might be painting or drawing or writing. Maybe you call a friend. Maybe you start playing a video game or watching a movie. Just anything that will hold your attention, anything that will distract you. In the hospital, I found that music therapy was really good for that for me. So maybe it just means banging on some bongos for a while, or singing, or dancing around your living room. Whatever you have to do to take you out of that moment is going to be helpful. And practicing that will only make things better. Another thing that can help is breathing exercises. This could be classified under a distraction technique, but I've found this one to be really helpful personally. You can look up lots of different breathing exercises, but it's just a way of getting yourself to focus on the moment, to get yourself out of your head and focused on what your body is doing. So for example, one that you could do is you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds, and you hold your breath for 4 seconds. I believe that's called square breathing. That's a really simple one. One of my favorites is one where you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 5 seconds, you exhale for 6 seconds, you hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then you start over. These are all ways to calm your body and to get you focused on the present. But the thing with breathing exercises is that they don't work unless you practice them. Like, you can't just try to do one right in the middle of when you're feeling crummy if you've never done it before, because it won't really work. You need to practice it when you're feeling well, so that when you start doing it when you're not feeling well, your body will know this is something that's meant to calm me. This is calming me. You have to practice it for it to work. And this is something that I didn't understand, because I had therapists tell me to do this, and I would do it and it wouldn't work at all. I'd be like, breathing exercises are dumb. They don't work. They do, but they only work if you practice them. So that's one that's worth trying. But yeah, you've got to practice. So this might be more of a preventative one, but it's also one that you can use in the moment. There's also some techniques that will give your brain visual and physical cues. For example, my doctor told me that one way you can deal with it in the moment is to take a red pen and make marks on yourself where you would self-harm. This sends a visual cue to your brain and creates the same feeling as if you were cutting, even though you're not cutting. Another way is to put ice against where you would normally cut. This is sending a sensation to your brain that's similar. These are things that you can do to deal with the physical feeling of needing to cut. Another one is you can keep a hair tie on your wrist and snap yourself whenever you feel like self-harming. I've heard a lot of people say this one works for them, but I would recommend that you be cautious with it, because I tried it and it can become a form of self-harm in itself. So yeah, be careful with that. I think there's a lot more probably that you can use, but those are some of the main ones that I know. So now let's talk about preventative measures. These are things that you can do when you're not feeling like cutting, but to reprogram yourself so that you don't want to anymore. So obviously, we have our ways of dealing with it in the moment, which is really important. Think of it this way. The cutting is the symptom of something. The cutting isn't the main problem. It's the symptom of something else. Maybe it's the symptom of trauma in your life. Maybe it's the symptom of feelings that you just can't deal with it. Maybe it's the symptom of mental illness. Our coping skills that we use in the moment are dealing with the symptoms. Our preventative skills, those are dealing with the root cause. And that's a lot more difficult. You might need to seek medical help. You might need to seek help from a therapist, and that's okay. There's no reason to be ashamed of that. There's no reason to feel any worse about yourself for that. I think that everyone should visit a therapist at one point or another, because it's so important to understand how your brain works and to understand that you are in control of your brain. So something that's preventative we need to change the way that we think about ourselves. And that's not necessarily easy. So, when you're feeling like self-harming, it's likely that you're having negative thoughts. And this may be subconscious, you may not notice them, or they may be very obvious. They might be screaming in your head. And these things might be, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not this, you're not that, you're ugly, you're never going to amount to anything. These are what is causing the problem. So what we actually have to do is we have to reprogram our brain. We have to reprogram the way that we think. And the most effective way that I've found to do this is with affirmation statements. There are a couple ways to use these. When I got out of the hospital, I got literally like 4 pages of these things. I say them every day. I don't say all of them on the pages, but I picked out my favorites and I say them out loud every day. And they're things that, might sound a little corny, things like, I love and honor myself. I am valuable. I have confidence in my body's ability to heal. Stuff like that. These are what you want to be in your subconscious. You don't want those ugly, negative things in your subconscious because they're affecting you in really negative ways. You want really positive things in your subconscious, and that's going to help you so much. So just start with, say, 3. Pick 3 affirmation statements and say them at least once every day, out loud, preferably to yourself in a mirror. You look at yourself and you say out loud, I know it sounds funny, but do it anyway. Say, I'm beautiful. I am worthy. I'm strong. And the more that you do that, the more you'll start to believe it. Because you won't just be feeding yourself negativity anymore. You're going to be feeding yourself positive things and truthful things. And that's so important. Another thing for dealing with these negative thoughts and reprogramming your brain is that you can learn to stop in the moment. When you hear yourself having these thoughts like, I'm not worthy, I should just hurt myself, stop. Just stop right there. Wherever you are, cleaning your kitchen, doing your homework, whatever you're doing, stop. And you argue with that thought. You say, no, I'm not unworthy. I'm worthy. I'm not ugly, I'm beautiful. You argue with that thought. Don't engage it and then let this storm back and forth in your mind, but counter it with truth. Maybe it doesn't feel like truth. Counter it with positivity. Either way. And that helps a lot, because then you're catching yourself in those negative patterns of thinking and you're breaking those patterns. It's like forming a new habit. So it's really important to learn how to do this. Some of you might have heard of cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a type of therapy, and I've done a lot of it, and it involves a triangle. And in this triangle, it talks about how thoughts lead to feelings, and feelings lead to behaviors, and behaviors lead to thoughts. So basically what you are thinking is dictating what you're feeling, and what you're feeling is dictating your behavior. So if you're thinking really negative things about yourself, then you're going to feel really negative things about yourself. Then maybe your reaction to those feelings and thoughts is going to be self-harming. So we need to intervene at one of those steps. We need to intervene there. Feelings is a very difficult thing to intervene in because a lot of times we don't feel like we can control our feelings. But it is a lot easier to intervene where our thoughts and behaviors are concerned. So say we want to intervene with our thoughts. We can do this by applying affirmations, by stopping our train of thought and changing it to something else. And then that will change our feelings, which can then change our behavior. Another way to come at it is we could try to change our behavior. We could do self-care and take care of ourselves and treat our body well. Then this has the potential to change our thoughts and our feelings, and thus our behaviors again. I think it's probably more difficult to intervene at the behavior level because a lot of times when you're self-harming, it doesn't feel like something that you're under control of. But maybe some ways that you can do this are You can have a friend, a really good friend, or maybe a family member keep you accountable. Tell them that you have this problem. Tell a medical professional that you have this problem. That's a step toward stopping that behavior, and then you can work on changing your thoughts and feelings. Another way to do this would be to put away things that you might use to self-harm. When I was struggling with this, I had my parents take all of my sharp objects out of my room. I had them hide them from me. When I was struggling with feeling suicidal, I had them take all of my medications and lock them up. It feels a little bit demeaning sometimes. It might not feel comfortable. In fact, I regretted it after that, because after I did that, I wanted them. But guess what? I couldn't have them. So it was a really good preventative thing. It's worth it. It's hard, but it's worth it. So, I hope that I've given you at least a few ideas. Again, I'm not any sort of expert or professional, but I have walked this road, and I want to be able to use that to help you guys. So, yeah, I hope that you find something helpful, and if you know someone who struggles with this, maybe send them this video. Maybe just send them a bit of encouragement. I think it's really important that we learn to be open and honest about this sort of thing, because it shouldn't be something that we have to hide in the dark. It shouldn't have to be something that we're ashamed of. You know? Hopefully that this world will become a much more welcoming place to people with mental illness, and people will be able to be much more open about it, because I think that will make healing so much easier. So yeah, if you want to check out my project on my Instagram, you can do that. My username is Alex Michaela, but I'll include it in the link below. Basically what we're doing is I made a list of drawing prompts that have to do with mental illness, and creating art and using it under the hashtag mental health awareness drawing prompts 2019, I think. A lot of cool art is coming out of it, and I'm trying to do it every day. Other people are doing it less consistently, and it's really cool to see. So yeah, you can come check that out, or you can check out the hashtag, and just remember that you deserve to be able to take care of yourself and to love yourself. You deserve to get better. You are beautiful. You are worthy. You are strong. And you can beat this. I believe in you. I believe in you, and the people around you believe in you. And we all believe in you. You have so much to contribute to this world. Each one of us has so much to offer. Maybe you can't see that right now, but try to hold on to that. Things are gonna get better. Alright. I love you guys. Really hope this helps. Give me feedback in the comments below. If you have any topics that you want me to talk about. I'm pretty awkward in front of the camera, but I'm willing to do it. So yeah. Let me know what you think. I hope this helps. Bye.